And we had a bear that came to the house, so that
Oh,
Really?
that's a plus.
it adds to the ambiance.
Yeah.
Very much. I wanted to film it, but he didn't show up for the camera, so
You're camera
He
shy.
wasn't camera ready.
totally. We had a hawk show up. That's about it. So yeah.
Hey, Dito, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How y'all doing? What's happening?
Good.
Good,
Thank you so much
thanks.
for taking the time.
Sure. Just hanging out.
We actually both saw this film last year at the Toronto International Film Festival, and I
Oh,
had a
cool.
chance to speak with you super briefly on the red carpet. So I'm so excited we get this chance to actually have a nice full conversation about it. I'm very excited.
We're in the real world now, that other
Exactly.
stuff inside the
Well,
machine.
I wanted to start off by asking you a little bit about how your cast ad-libbed through different scenes. I had a chance to ask, I believe it was Ed a little bit when I talked to him at TIFF about the process doing that on set. And so I wanted to ask you, from a directorial standpoint, how do you facilitate that happening? Were there specific scenes that you encouraged that to happen? Maybe specific scenes or you wanted them to stick more to the writing? How do you facilitate an environment to kind of riff off of each other through the cast?
Well, look, it's a trip, and you don't always have this level of actor around that is they're really remarkably talented, but kind of good at messing around too. So it's less ad lib than you might think, funny enough. I try to work on once you get to know these people a little bit, you get to meet Jennifer Coolidge and you get a vibe off her pretty quick. So you make some changes to try and fit them, and then they just play and it's like for a minute you try to control the world and then you go, wait a second, at 1 in the morning, whatever I wrote that I thought was genius is probably going to come out a little better out of Bill Murray's mouth or Pete's or Jen. So you just got to kind of go with it, but to their credit, it's less messing around than you think. I mean, every once in a while, Bill Murray will just say something that just takes the floor apart, and that's what you always hope for. But it's always in character. So if everyone's playing in character, you can't really go wrong, in my opinion.
That's awesome.
Definitely. One thing that really stood out to me both times that I watched this film was the score and the way that music has the ability to kind of help how viewers perceive the film as a whole. One example that I really loved was the opening scene, just how simple it is. It's able to unknowingly set the tone for what viewers can expect for the rest of this film. So I'm wondering, as a director, what kind of hand did you have in choosing what songs made it into the final cut? And did you go in with an idea of what you wanted?
Oh, I'm a nut about this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I come from the world of scores, music scores. I worked in a music under a composer for years, so I obsess with that. Like I live for it. I think you could shoot a blank wall, and with the right music, it's a good scene. And you
Exactly.
can destroy a great scene with bad music. So it's not. And Adam Taylor was the composer, and he's just great. But the first song, it's funny because my friend Jesse Malin, who's a singer, he's a New York guy I know since the old hardcore scene. I had put a post up on Instagram while we were shooting of us trying to blow, when the fireworks were happening, we were shooting and we had these insane freaking, fire guys. I mean, it was insane. And, the whole cast is there. I mean, Ed Harris and Jennifer, and we're trying to light it and blow things up. And I wrote, what could go wrong? And my friend Jesse called me up and he goes, hey, man, I got a Lucinda Williams song called What Could Go Wrong. You might want to hear it. It's not out yet, but Lucinda's a friend. And he sent it and I said, "Oh man, that's really good." So I stalked Lucinda and luckily she said, "Oh yeah, Bill Murray got me on my first Saturday Night Live." So so that's how that song ended up in our film. But I thought it was just right. And so it came from Jesse Malin and then to Lucinda. So but yeah, it was a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the songs are just so fully thought out. And I'm a huge score and music person too. So I
Wow.
love that you had the
Live
thought
for it.
process going into that.
Oh, so much. Yeah. Live for it.
Another big thing is obviously the characters in this film. Everyone is very full. There are no side characters in this film, which I love. So I'm wondering, from your standpoint, how do you approach each of these characters, knowing that they're all equally important to the storyline, while still making sure the audience kind of questions where the line is for each of them between their loyalty to their family and self-preservation?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, no, that was a really fun thing. I was just talking about it, where it's like, most films, it's like, okay, there's a guy and they're in love, they two people are in love and there's a bad guy, and then there's people who float around them. And I loved when I first was reading this, because it was a play originally. I was like, oh, each person that comes in takes the movie over. And then but I was obsessed on DJ because I was like, who the heck is gonna pull this off? Like it seemed impossible. Like it's so Urkel. It sounds like a disaster. And Miles Harvey walked into an open call and I was like, oh, there he is. And then of course, Bill Murray, it's a dream. Ed Harris, a dream. Jennifer Coolidge, Gabrielle Union, Pete Davidson, all those people. But then I was like kind of obsessed with Emanuela, who because originally it was written for a French woman. And all these great actresses came in, and then Emanuela came in, and I heard her speaking Italian. I said, does she talk Italian or French? Oh, she could talk both. I said, oh, but is she Italian? Yeah. Okay, we'll just make the person Italian. But yeah, but it was so important. I thought that each person tells their little story, because I don't know, it just seemed kind of fun that you don't get that chance all the time to play with everybody. So and that it all, I think, is cohesive to some degree.
Yeah, definitely.
On that end, I wanted to talk a bit about that ending shot with Vincent and the pan into him kind of just looking into the camera and smirking. And I wanted to ask you what went into the choice to decide to end on his face and choose out of all the characters, kind of take like the patriarchal family member and have that be the last shot the audience sees.
I almost got rid of it because I thought, okay, it could end with the scene previous to it. And then I said, okay, but if I got the whole family together and I could push it on Ed Harris's face, there's never a bad idea. So then, so it just thought to line it up, and this guy, like he's so diabolical. They all are. They're just a bunch of maniacs. They're all Virginia Wolves. So I just thought, okay, we'll set it up and I'll push into Ed, and we were just messing around. Hey, Ed, like give me what you want. And then when he gave that bit of a smirk, I thought, oh, that's so awful. So it's hard to not want to not to end the movie on if you can get it, pushing on Ed Harris at the end of the movie, I would suggest you at least take the shot.
Very good advice. I think that's perfect.
No, good idea. Yeah, I'll take it too. Yeah.
I also wanted to talk a bit about the filming location because not all the film, but a lot of it takes place in the vacation house that we see. So,
Yeah.
from a filmmaking standpoint, is it does it present any difficulties to kind of shoot a bulk of a film in one kind of enclosed space or area, or is it easier, harder to be going to different locations, different sets like that?
Yeah, look, it's tricky, when you had 8 people like this in a room, it's kind of tricky. And luckily we found this crazy house in the middle of nowhere and way out in New Jersey. And I mean, we saw some crazy houses. I mean, one guy was under some sort of weird house arrest. I was like, this is like get a helipad. I'm like, wow, this maybe they're doing a little too well for the. But funny enough, when we were dealing with the locations, I realized because we took it out of the house, like, oh, there's more locations than you think. So it's a lot of fun, but it is trick. It's a little tricky because it sounds convenient that you don't have to move around too much, but you shoot one camera, so you gotta like, okay, got 8. Look at these 8 people in the room. Who am I even gonna look at? You know, it's kind of tricky, that you can't. But it's nice that you can't go wrong, but you don't have all day to shoot 50 ways. So it's nice to have these good choices. So it's tricky, but I guess it's good that you don't have to move in that sense. But I don't mind either.
That's interesting. I love that.
And we had a bear that went to the house, so that
Oh,
Really?
that's a plus.
it adds to the ambiance.
Yeah.
Very much. I wanted to film it, but he didn't show up for the camera. So
Too camera
He
shy.
wasn't camera ready.
probably we had a hawk show up. That's about it. So yeah.
Well, we are out of time. I just want to say thank you and congratulations on everything again. The film is fantastic.
Oh, thanks a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you
thank you
so much
so
for
much for
your
your time.
time.